Welcome to Marshallpreneur TV. Today's special guest is Brian Williams, founder of Think Kindness. Now, without going into too much detail, Think Kindness was inspired by Brian's martial arts teacher, Tom Callos, who's also a friend of Marshallpreneur TV. Tom said to Brian, what if you could document 1 million acts of kindness? What would that symbolise? What would be the impact? So that gave Brian the inspiration for Think Kindness. Now, I do apologise, the Skype connection was not great on this episode, but I hope you guys get the message and can help out in any way. And also think about how your martial arts group might be able to help make a difference in your community or maybe even the world, as is Think Kindness. Now let's go and see what Brian has to say. Welcome to Marshallpreneur TV. I've got another guest here for us today on our episode. We have Brian Williams. Now, Brian is the founder of Think Kindness. How are you doing, Brian?
Doing excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, I wanted to ask you to come on the show. I know obviously our mutual friend Tom Callos recommended I have a chat to you and also sort of spread the word about the good things that you're doing. I just wondered whether you'd mind sort of introducing yourself a bit and explaining to our viewers what Think Kindness is and a little bit about your organisation.
Yeah, for everyone out there, I grew up, born and raised in the Reno area, and I started training martial arts when I was 4 years old. So I sort of grew up in Taekwondo my whole life, and I started a nonprofit organization where Tom Callos actually is back in 2007 gave me a challenge to see if I could document 1 million random acts of kindness. And his idea was if I could document 1 million acts of kindness and show the world, and in a way to physically say this is what 1 million acts of kindness look like, what would be the impact of that? And so it really got me thinking. So we created a nonprofit organization called Think Kindness, where we go around the country and do school programs where we pin school versus school who can make the biggest difference in the world in just 15 days. And then we also carry out global acts of kindness where we've gone to both Kenya and Cambodia. It's kind of everything in a nutshell.
Wow, amazing. I mean, that's great. I mean, where did the initial idea come from? What sparked you to decide to start the organisation?
Well, when we first were thinking of it, I started owning a martial arts school down in Southern California, and one of the ways that we would get students is we do stranger danger programs within schools in the area. And we had a family illness, so then I moved from Los Angeles back home to the Reno, Nevada, and just got to thinking. I love speaking in front of people, and one thing that we grew up in martial arts is that it's not just our black belt test wasn't just a 2 or 3 hour test. It was like a 3-day test and then a 6-month training. So that way, by the time you get your black belt, you've lived basically a black belt life for 6 months, in turning that training into habit, from eating habits, from studying at school to martial arts habits. And so that way you're creating not just a black belt in kicking and punching, but your black belt in life. And so I wanted to carry out that same philosophy to a school program, that if I want to inspire students around the country to make a difference in the world, I can get up there and honestly talk for an hour and leave. And yeah, they might be pumped for just a little bit, but at the end of the day, 2 weeks later, it's going to be totally forgotten about. So how can I go in and not just talk about it, but actually have them do something monumental that to them they've never done before? And hopefully with that creates some sort of emotional response, which gets them hooked and hopefully, I don't want to say makes a habit, but makes them think about ways that they can contribute their life in a way that benefits the world.
Fantastic. Okay. So how do the acts of kindness work? I know I think I heard you had cards that you give your students and they pass those out, or?
Yeah, we typically, when we go into a school, there's a couple different programs, because obviously you need to have it for both elementary, middle, and high school. So when I go into an elementary school, We launch it with a big assembly where we get the whole school in assembly. I usually open up with backflips and stuff to make the kids go ooh and ah. And then I tell my personal story, and of course it has a very elementary school fun, superhero jokes, I make a fool of myself type of speech. But at the end, we give them a challenge where we ask them to document and handwrite 5,000 acts of kindness that they've performed. And then we give the teachers journals. We bring the school banners. We have a morning announcement CD, so they play that over the loudspeakers. So every day has a theme saying, okay, here's some ideas on how you can be nice to your teachers, your playground, your parents, your peers, to the world. And so every day has a theme for 15 days. Then they also have tracking thermometers for the classrooms. And so that way when they fill out a journal which holds 10 acts of kindness, they give it to their teacher. Their teacher lets them mark the thermometer, which they put in a place to showcase that their class is cool. And then at the end, we tally them all together. And we've had schools document over 15,000 within a 15-day period. Wow. And so they've really gone above and beyond. But being realistic, if I go into a high school and I go, okay, guys, I want you to write down all the acts of kindness you do, they're going to be like, all right, that's not cool, dude. So, yeah. It's just not going to work, or we'll just get a bunch of stuff that's just flat out inappropriate. Yeah. So we needed to revamp it for a little bit. So what we ended up doing is we opted to, in fact, rather than have them write it down, is sort of package a unique challenge for them, whether it's collecting 5,000 pairs of shoes for orphans around the world, raising money for childhood cancer, to doing small daily acts of kindness within their student body. So, when we recently, right now, our next campaign is to do shoes. And we've had schools collect up to 20,000 pairs of shoes in 15 days. Wow. That's a semi-truck completely full of gently used shoes. And then so from that point, they're able to see the community kind of really come together around their cause. And at the end, they're like, look what we just did. But then we take it one step further. Then we actually go to Africa. We bring students with us. And then we say, here's the child that received these pair of shoes. And they come back with the stories and say, here's a child that wasn't able to go to school because he didn't have shoes. It's much more than them going barefoot. It's giving them the gift of an education, hope, all of these things. And when they bring those stories back to their school, the impact of the school is just like, wow, that's awesome. So, and we've developed a new bully program, and then we're writing a women's self-image kindness program. And then recently we launched kindness cards, which is a fun, unique way to track random acts of kindness online. So it's kind of which has worked in high schools as well. We just actually launched it in a high school in Maine yesterday. And they're starting right now.
Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. I mean, it's great to hear.
That's it.
Just in a nutshell, just a little thing.
Yeah.
It's great to hear. That people like yourself are there using that martial way, that martial thought process. Of betterment, self-empowerment, making a difference to something just outside of the dojo, rather than just for self training. I mean, what sort of take has that created with your training and with your classes? Because do you still teach martial arts? And
I still train a little bit. I'll probably start teaching here soon. One of my friends is going to open a school here soon, so I'm excited to get back and act like a goofball and run around barefoot. No, for me, martial arts is definitely was the cornerstone of everything. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was martial arts is not just about the kicking and the punching. And I say this even within the high schools that I go to, is that there are black belts in every school. You might not be a black belt in martial arts, but you have black belt excellence. And we try to go out and find those living heroes. So for me, martial arts was definitely the cornerstone and the turning point of where Think Kindness is, and the mission and the philosophy, and even the way we do things, of trying to not just talk about it, but actually take action, make a difference, learn from our mistakes, and get more people on board for the next go around. And also for me, from a nonprofit perspective, it's tough. I mean, it's hard to. There's a lot of times where you want to quit and give up. To be honest, I mean, you wonder if what you're doing's, making the difference that you think it is, because there's days you don't really get that feedback. Income wise, it's hard. Business wise, running a nonprofit organization, that's not something they teach you in college. So from all the IRS filings and the bank's accounts and the donor retainment and all that just business stuff that's not the fun stuff, is something that I had to learn. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, I had Danny Sickins talking about not-for-profit organisations, and he explained a bit about running those and the business behind them. So it's obviously it is a full-time business. Obviously, it's not something you can just throw up over a weekend and do.
No, yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's not something it's got to be constantly nourished. And it's one of those things that in order for it to succeed, for a nonprofit perspective, you can't get money till you can prove what you do works, but you can't do what you do until you get the money to do it. So it's this whole double-edged sword, and you have to think outside the box. Sure. Sort of the same thing when you're training, your instructor says, look, your sidekick's just not ready. You need to go work on it. And you don't quite know what it is. And the instructor's like, it's just lacking something. You need to figure it out. You're like, well, that doesn't help me. But then finally just practice it. And it's just an intensity. It's a mental thing that you're just doing it at a different level. So that's something that, relates to, of course, that's not just for what I'm doing. That's just any business or any challenge that you might have or need to overcome.
Sure. I mean, what sort of challenges did you found in the beginning? I mean, how long has Think Kindness been going? How long has it been running for?
We started in 2008 is when we were officially a nonprofit organization. I started talking about to schools end of 2007, beginning of 2008. And challenge wise, it's definitely been one from just the managing the projects. You go into a school, you have 5 schools at once. How do you do that? Getting volunteers and keeping them inspired and keeping them motivated and keeping them coming back and volunteering their time is definitely a challenge. And we're still running into those issues as well. And I think every nonprofit organization, that's something that's there. And next is just the balance of wondering if this is something that you want to commit to. It's definitely hard. I started when I was 24, 25 years old. Meanwhile, you have friends that are getting real jobs and buying houses and going and traveling. And meanwhile, you're working for a charity and scraping by. But then in the midst of all of it, you get these little bits of encouragement. You get an email from a student. You get, one of those friends saying, what you're doing is awesome. I wish I was in your shoes. And you're like, I wish you're the one with the house, but being able to travel and make a difference and inspire people want that feeling of purpose. And then you get the random, like I got an email actually, ironically today, from a student from 2 years ago. She just got accepted to this study, this program where she'll be teaching HIV education in India. And there was over 700 applicants. They accepted 7 people. And the whole part of her interview, pretty much, they were talking about what she did during her kindness challenge 2 years ago in a small town in Iowa. And she emailed me and said, thank you for letting me be a part of that. And basically from doing that now, she shifted from wanting to go into medical school to going into community health and really focus on contributing back to the world, strictly from that speech that I gave in the program that happened 2 years ago. Wow. So you get those and you're like, okay, I must be doing something right. So
you're doing something good there for sure. I mean, that's great. I mean, you really like that example. That's just molding people's lives, and if you can give a helping hand in any way, isn't it? That's just well worth it. To get that kind of feedback. So what's the next stage for Think Kindness? What are you working on at the moment? What's the next steps, or Is there anything you're working on at the minute that you're looking to
yeah, what we're looking to do, or what we're working on right now, we're trying to do a massive shoe challenge. We're trying to collect 100,000 pairs of shoes by the end of 2013. And with that, where the shoes are going is pretty cool. They'll be basically going to 4 different spots. The first one is they're going to be, some of them will stay and be distributed to local needy. We definitely want to meet a local need for local homeless. The second one is they'll be distributed to orphans around the world. The third will be that they we'll be using them as a micro enterprise system. And so we've gone and dropped down like 20,000 shoes in an economy. And then the guy that's selling shoes is like, what's going on? I can't sell shoes when there's all these free ones in the market. So he goes out of business.
Right.
Of course, that's something I didn't even think about to be starting. You're like, you're feeling horrible. So what we've done is we've done a shift. So with the kids, like in orphanages, yes, they'll receive shoes. However, then what we're going to be doing is for the individuals and the families that want to open their own shoe store, it'll be basically a micro loan where we'll actually give them stock and inventory for them to open up their own street side shoe store. And those will be going to Haiti, Togo, Kenya, Tanzania, and places like that. And then what happens is they will be buying the shoes. So they're not getting them for free. They have to buy them. It's pennies a pair. So it's still low cost, affordable. And obviously we work with them during their starting phase. So they're learning business, which supports their economy. But then what we're doing is we're taking the money that we receive and we're investing that back into a program that we launched it last year and we're developing it. And it's an e-tutoring program. So we can actually link teachers here in the States with orphans in Kenya. And just so that way they can get the tutoring and the education they need.
That's brilliant. So it's so like you say, you're not sort of destroying an economy. Basically, you're actually fostering it so that it works all the way around.
Yeah, from providing commerce in their area to send their kids to school, and then making sure when they go to school to have better resources so that way they can get a better education, which in turn hopefully 20 years from now, maybe they'll see an impact within their economy, if it all goes well. But, that's from that angle. The other part is, too, just in the United States, there was over 2.4 billion shoes purchased in 2011, which means we bought enough pair of shoes to give every single person that can't afford a pair of shoes several pairs, just from the U.S. Yep. And so where most people, either the shoes will stay in they're in their closets or they'll go to landfills. And so, I can account, I got probably like 9 pairs of shoes in my closet that I keep for the one day maybe I'm doing yard work and I don't want to ruin the one pair of shoes I have, or, this is for the one time I'm going to run in the mud when I don't want to use my good running shoes. You just have those shoes that you just don't.
The spare sets.
Wear.
So you
and those are the ones we want. We don't want the new ones. You can have the new ones, enjoy them, love them, wear them. We want. Oh, can you got me?
Sorry, yeah, you're breaking up a little bit there. We've got a terrible line tonight, but we're okay. I think you're back. You there?
Okay. Yeah.
What was? I lost my train of thought.
Gotcha.
There. That's it. I'm just gonna hang up quickly and then recall again. See if that helps. Yeah, I think
there we go.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good. Sorry. So picking up there, Brian. So with the project, if you just recap just quickly about the shoe project that you're working on, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So the shoes, we'll be really working so that way they support the economy there locally. But when we look at the numbers just within the U.S., we purchase over 2.4 billion shoes. And the stats show that there's 300 million children in the world that go barefoot every day. That'd be the equivalent of every state in the United States except for Rhode Island going barefoot. Or, every day, running, playing, school, work, can't afford a pair of shoes. But yeah, as Americans, we bought enough to give every single child and person several pairs. So what we're going after is the old, gently used shoes, the ones you don't wear anymore, the ones that are in your closet, because those ones, even though they might not be good enough for you, they're still in great shape for someone that doesn't have a pair of shoes.
Absolutely. I think we're guilty of just being such a throwaway sort of age now where everything, even when it's just slightly worn, it's not even that worn, and people just throw away. I'll get a brand new pair, and it's it's easy come, easy go kind of thing. So I think you're right. Everyone's got that spare set of shoes that could be put to good use. So where can people help out? Where can we find the information to help out?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a bit of a delay there.
So a call to action to anyone that's, a call to action that would be for anyone that wants to get involved would be, we would love to have martial arts schools across the country jump on and run a shoe campaign in your area. We've basically created like a package cookie cutter program, so that way within your school and then within your surrounding community, elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, churches, fitness gyms, we can drop ship boxes, posters, banners, videos, talking points. We have a media team that'll help out with press releases. Our requirement per city, because obviously there's a shipping expense and things like that, our goal is 5,000 pairs of shoes per city. Which 5,000, to give you a visual, that'd be like the largest U-Haul. I don't know if you have U-Hauls over there in England, but a largest, rental moving truck that you can get completely full of shoes, which I promise you will get media attention. It'll serve as a great motivational factor to anyone that's watching, because there's a great visual to that. So if you guys want to get involved, you can go to thinkkindness.org, and there's information right there on our website.
Okay, brilliant. I'll link it up somewhere on here so we can see it. Does it point around? So it's thinkkindness.org, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, brilliant. That's great. One other thing I wanted to quickly talk to you about is I saw a video of you at TEDx doing a talk. That was fantastic. It's a great video.
Thank you.
I'll put that on here. That was really, really good speech. And I just wanted to sort of pick your brains really and find out how that came about, how you managed to get up on stage. What was the process when you got the opportunity to go on stage?
There was the local college here decided to host a TEDx, and some of the individuals that were on the planning committee were involved with Think Kindness from a couple years ago with some of our local events. And then what they did is they had a team of professors, the dean of the schools, kind of serve on the selection committee. And then from there, you had to submit sample talks, what you're going to talk about, and then you had to have a sit-down interview. So there's different stages of the acceptance process. Wow. And then when they do it, they also, it's one on whether you get accepted as a speaker, and two is the time allotment they get you. So, and TED is very corporate run because there's a lot of brand standards. So whether you're an 8-minute presentation, a 12-minute presentation, or an 18-minute, and I even think they have a 4 or 5-minute presentation length. And so they'll say you got accepted for 8 minutes, or you got accepted for 12 minutes. And so when I was like, I got accepted for the full 18-minute presentation for the very end. But even still, we also had, at the same TED, we also had one of the girls, she's a 7th grader, that came with us to Kenya to give away all the water filters that we distributed. She also got accepted as a speaker. So we kind of had two Think Kindness messages, someone coming up from a student perspective for what we do globally, and then obviously kindness cards.
I saw that as well. The young girl with the campaign for the survival tubes, the survival straws. That's fantastic. I mean, that's really inspirational. I'm going to put those videos on underneath this video. I'll put those in there so people can see those as well. So that's really cool. I mean, that's I think it's like the ultimate classroom, taking a speech that big, speaking to a room that many people. It must have been quite nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, well it's nerve-wracking because that the audience part is fine, but when you speak, you're not speaking to the audience, you're speaking for the video. Yeah. That's what's nerve-wracking. An audience, I can make a mistake and get by on an audience, but a video, you lack that presence that you have with the audience, that stage presence, just the feel of the other speakers that you're kind of riding off of in the event. Whereas here, someone's just cruising on their pajamas on YouTube and want to watch it. You got to reach out and grab them. So that part's hard.
Yeah, sure. I can relate to that. I recently we did a self-defense show for a TV network here in the UK, and we were doing that, and the first day filming, and I had to talk to a camera, and it was just so weird, you know. Talk to a room of students, or a one-on-one with a client, or a whole room of students doing a seminar about martial arts. Fine, you know, no problem. Like you say, you can goof around and, you know, sort of let a few things slip. But when there's just that sort of cold face of a camera there in front of you, it's another skill, isn't it?
Oh yeah, totally. And if you're doing like news stuff that's not live, you at least can go, oh, hey, let me say that a different way. Or, you know, you could retake it. This one, there's no retakes, no ums or ahs. And for me, I can look at it and pinpoint, oh yeah, I totally messed that part up, or I messed that part up. I left out this section, you know, and of course you're your own worst critic. So, you know, I have so many videos of me talking, and I don't really necessarily use them, you know, just because I have, you know, I'm just so critical.
Yeah.
Well,
it was fantastic anyway. It's great. And like I say, I'll pop that underneath this video as well. It was a great talk.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, listen, Brian, I'm going to let you get on with your evening.
Perfect.
And I thank you so much for introducing Think Kindness. And I'd like to come back at some point and have a chat with you and see how the shoe drive goes and the results from that.
Yeah, would love to.
Fantastic.
And we'll have to get you out to come to Kenya with us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if we can make a bit of a difference. So hopefully we can get some more people interested. Check out thinkkindness.org and get involved.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you very much,
all right.
Brian.
Take care.
Good evening. Thank you.
You too.